Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, have I got something for you? Who it is? It's Ben Stoll. It's Ben Stoll, the lead TCG designer for this game. Ben, how are you, sir?
I am fantastic. Thank you. How are you doing?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. Hanging out in the back corner of the Mozu Pro Studios, a.k.a. my bedroom. But
Nice.
Yes, absolutely. So, Ben, we're going to dig right into this.
Awesome.
First of all, how long have you been on the project?
A little over 2 years. So it's been a long time. I mean, like, I haven't been like grinding away at the project consistently for the last 2 years, but I mean, things first started. I've got an email printed out on my desk, which is like one of the early brainstorm meetings of HEX. You know, it's just all these crazy ideas just written out in their raw form. You know, all the great things that we envisioned for the game, and that email was from May of 2011. So, but I mean, I've been really working on the project like with a lot of my time for about, I'm not positive this is correct, so don't quote me on it, but maybe like a year and a half, a little over a year for sure. So
okay, so a little over a year, and obviously you said early in 11 you guys really started to mesh and try to figure out what you wanted to do.
Yes.
Wow. Obviously, if everyone they've obviously seen the Kickstarter. They know what you guys are doing. Obviously, oh, and congrats on the super quick funding. Hello, almost $100,000 a year or a day, a year, right?
Sure.
Okay, a day. That is just insane. Obviously,
we were pumped. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you have to be. You did take some of my money. I'll be honest with you, but you know, gotta get in there.
You'll get your
Oh yeah, I'll get my worth out of it. All right. So, digital design. It's got to be completely different. So what are some of your thoughts about the differences from, you're obviously a physical card designer, now you're messing with the digital. What are some of the differences that you found?
Well, first of all, it's very fun. I mean, like, I love working on paper TCGs, and this obviously shares a lot of similarities with the paper TCG, but it was like a treat as a designer because it was like I'm a painter and someone just bought me a whole new rainbow of colors, you know what I mean? Okay. And to paint with. And so, I mean, it's fun. It's sweet. I mean, I love TCGs. You obviously love TCGs, and people that are following HEX probably also love TCGs. And it's just like there's this whole sense of look at all these cards, and there's gobs of stuff that TCGs have never been able to do before, and now we can do them. And the question was, so I mean, like,
yeah, what are the differences? I mean, I saw like the booby traps and little things like that. Which really leads into one of my other questions is, what's one aspect that really surprised you? Obviously, you knew it was going to be different, but what is something that surprised you and you just were able to grab onto?
Okay, so it's interesting. I mean, there's kind of like two, in a simple sense, there's kind of two different types of space that open up in my head. One is the kind of more obvious space. It's like, we can have cards transform, you know, your art box on your card just changed because your guy turned into something else. I mean, there's like, there's cool stuff like I can create a card out of thin air and put it into any game zone I want. So there's all that kind of stuff, which we mined a lot of great stuff there pretty quickly, I think. But then there's, you know, text boxes can just update. We can take a magic marker and write new stuff into your card in the moment, which is really cool because I can't do that in a paper TCG. But the stuff that surprised me the most was the more kind of subtle stuff. Like, for example, doing hidden information is a thing that we can do much more easily in this space. So, like, we have this really cool card that I love called General's Tent, which is, oh, maybe this is a little bit of a free spoiler, extra bonus spoiler. But, but one of my personal favorite designs, as we say in R&D, it has my design stink all over it, is General's Tent, which is a card that when it comes into play, I secretly choose one of three plans, either assassination, invasion, or trap, and then I'm building up my General's Tent the whole time. It's secret. I know, and on my screen, I see the plan, but you don't know it as my opponent. But that's a cool thing we can do is we can see different stuff because you're on your computer and I'm on my computer. Now, of course, we generally see the same stuff. It would be really disorienting if I had, like, invisible troops in play. There's nothing like that because we need to preserve the sense of integrity of understanding what's happening on the board. But you could do that card in a paper TCG, but it would require like me sitting here with a little piece of paper that I'm secretly writing on. It would be a nightmare for tournaments. You know what I mean? Like, so there's stuff like that that's like hidden information. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Very cool. On top of that, speaking of previews, and thank you for the free one,
You're
we
welcome.
also set up an actual preview card. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up with a little drum roll. We are going to look at the Carillion Grand Strategist.
Sweet.
All right. Hoping you can see that.
I can. So you want me to start talking about this guy?
Yeah, please. Let me know about this guy.
All right, cool. So we'll start with a little flavor. You know, I mean, one of the things that's awesome about Hex is the world that our creative geniuses, namely Corey Jones and Mike Kirchhoff, have built is totally rich. I mean, all the races have all their lore and stuff. The humans are no exception. So there's 3 human kingdoms, and they each like exemplify different aspects and beliefs and systems that the humans of Hex, you know, have. And Cerulia is the kind of like it's about magic, it's about philosophy and thought and you know, scholarship and things like that. And anyways,
okay.
and it's the more kind of like when it comes to warfare and things like that, Cerulia is about the strategy. It's about the masterminding of warfare, basically. And so this guy, Cerulean Grand Strategist, is as his name implies, is good at this kind of thing, the tactical side of combat.
Okay.
And so he's got Inspire, which you'll see on a lot of different humans in the first set. And Inspire always has the same input, which is as another troop with cost equal to or greater than this troop's cost enters play under your control, it gets some sort of benefit.
Sure.
And this guy, you know, and so that could either be keywords or stat boosts or any number of things. But this guy does this thing where he basically turns all your guys into the ability to activate. That's what that little symbol is there.
Okay.
To activate and exhaust target troop with less attack than this troop's attack. So
nice.
You're right. So I play a big guy who's front heavy, and hopefully some of my other Inspire guys made him have an even greater attack. And then with this guy in play, virtually every single troop I play with cost 1 or more, which is pretty much every troop, is going to gain this power. So I mean, I can kind of set up this board situation where I'm building this army of humans, and the humans kind of achieve critical mass slower than some of the other races, but when they do, it's extremely powerful. So this guy kind of lets me control the board, stall things out, and kind of plan out my strategy, as it were, until I'm ready to come in and just start really bringing out the big guns. This guy's going to help me survive. So he's totally sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a control-y type of thing, which is very cool.
Yep.
All right, awesome. Love the stuff there. Now, all right, there's a preview. Now, talking about the races of Hex real quick.
Sure.
2, as I was looking at everything, 2 of them stood out to me really quickly.
Okay.
That would be, first of all, hello, killer rabbits?
They are popular.
Yeah, I mean, and they're technically, now I know they're not they're not really the bad guys, but, you know.
They're misunderstood.
Misunderstood. Okay, all right. So you've got them, and then you've also got some good guy werewolves.
They're actually coyote. They're coyote people, basically.
Okay, coyote people. All right, yep. I can see that. I'm still going to say that Dan Clark obviously had something to do with that. I mean,
yes,
you know.
I'm sure that he did sneak that in there somehow, yeah.
Yeah, he had to, because if it's a dog that shape shifts or something that stands upright, Dan's got something to do with it.
Absolutely.
Okay, now. Moving on to our next question. There have been some similarities noted gameplay-wise from Hex from some other big TCGs. Mm-hmm. They come out pretty strong at you at first when you're watching the gameplay videos. So if you can give me a little talk about the decisions that were made. Obviously, like the resource system is something that folks are kind of looking at funny, and maybe like one mass attack. Give us maybe the reasons why those thought processes went with, and maybe why you didn't use the system, say like WoW TCG's, say combat or resource system.
Sure. So I mean, like the first thing is that me and the rest of the R&D team, we are all huge fans of just TCGs in general. We love WoW. We obviously believe it's a great game, and we also love working on it. I mean, it is treasured by us and loved.
Sure, of course.
And we also love other TCGs. I mean, the first thing I would say, I'm going to go into the explanation of why Hex's game engine is structured the way it is in just a second. But I would say, as kind of a preface, it's like, different games have different needs. I mean, the experience that we wanted to craft for WoW is an awesome experience, and it's a slightly different experience than the experience we wanted to craft for Hex. I mean, for one thing, it's like we have WoW, and we have WoW TCG, and we also have Hex, and so like, I mean, it would almost be they're different games, and we want them to be different games, and we want WoW TCG to celebrate what it is, and we want Hex to celebrate what it is. But anyways, so I'll talk about combat and I'll talk about the resource system, because those are probably two of the big building blocks that have a lot to do with the experience you're going to get playing Hex.
Of course.
So the resource system is it is actually all new in a lot of ways. I mean, it's streamlined, it's very intuitive and quick. You don't have to mess with resource cards in play. You play a resource card, it disappears forever, and then you just have a cool little handy digital user interface that kind of tells you what's going on with the resources.
Okay.
So I mean, that was one of the first main things, is we were like, the digital space has allowed us to clean up this experience. Now, more advanced TCG players, they probably don't mind, I mean, and there's going to be a lot of advanced TCG players that love Hex. But for, say, new guy who's like, I mean, we got a lot of people on our Kickstarter that are like, I'm kind of daunted, I've never played a TCG, this looks terrifying, And for those people, it's like, well, you know what? You just get to click on your resource card, it disappears forever, and then you get to spend more time worrying about your coyotals, your humans, your dragons, the real reasons why you're here. You're not here for the resources, you're here to play cool cards,
Okay.
So, I mean, that's the first part of it. The other part, the more kind of mechanical part, is Hex's resource system is very suited to higher variants than, say, WoW TCG's system. So,
Certainly.
I mean, and there's a certain kind of excitement and tension that comes with that, because I can't reliably do the same thing on every turn of the game as easily. I mean, I may not have a fourth resource on turn 4, so my opponent has this experience of like, is he going to play a 4-drop this turn or not? And that, it's very subconscious. I mean, the players aren't consciously thinking about this stuff, but very subtly, there's a kind of tension there that I wanted to put in the game. That's like, what's going to happen? And the resource system being less consistent adds to that kind of excitement and that tension. You get these moments where you have a great draw because you curved out perfectly, and then you get moments where you didn't, and you try to make it work, and you're like, I got to make do with what I got. But also very subtly, so you're getting the full answer on the resource system.
No, not a problem, buddy, not a problem.
The other thing that's cool is, I mean, the resources also charge your champion. So to get a little bit of that consistency and that ability to plan for what's coming that advanced players also like, and casual players also like, we have these charge powers. And it's kind of a subtle thing, but the charge powers incentivize you to play more resources. You don't get as punished for drawing too many resources. There are a lot of other popular TCGs. People get frustrated when they don't draw enough resources. People get frustrated when they draw too many resources. It sucks to be sitting there with a handful of resource cards while your opponent just steamrolls you to death. Yeah. But the fact that you have a charge power means, like, well, maybe I'm not getting steamrolled. I'm actually, putting troops into play. I mean, in the case of one of the charge powers, I'm putting a 6/6 Squirrel Titan into play. More free funny stuff that you have on the way. And it's like, that's a little bit of rambling about the resource system for everybody.
Certainly.
Combat is similar in some ways. I mean, like, there's, a lot of TCGs have direct attacking. A lot of TCGs have what we kind of refer to as indirect attacking. Okay. And Hex is in the latter category. And it's, again, there's no totally right or totally wrong. It's not like there's just one objective best way to do anything necessarily. But to give some of the highlights of what I personally like about an indirect attacking system is you get kind of a fun sense of all or nothing. Combat is very much like, here it is all happening at once, which is, again, we want Hex to be exciting, and there's this fun moment of like, everybody's coming in, it's like, here they all come. The other thing that's cool about it is because an indirect combat system puts more control in the defending player, which kind of, again, you get this fun dynamic experience between the attacking player and the defending player where it's like, I'm the aggressor. The fact that I'm attacking you with stuff means I have some amount of board presence, I'm putting pressure on you, and that's terrifying for the defending player a lot of times. But to kind of make up for that, the defending player gets to control the options. He chooses who's blocking where. So there's this really fun dynamic situation there where I'm putting pressure on you and I'm threatening you, but you're also, to make up for that, you get a little more control over the situation. So again, it's like, who knows what's going to happen next? Is my opponent going to make the right block? Is he going to see something? Does he have a combat trick? when I send all my guys in, sometimes I know what's going to happen. I can guess what's going to happen. But a lot of times I don't know exactly how you're going to respond. And so, again, as two players, we get to share that moment together of the kind of excitement of how is this combat going to go. So,
awesome. Okay. Well, that definitely gives the viewers something to look at there. And I agree. And I think, in my own personal opinion, I think just ease of play.
Yeah,
especially
totally.
as you guys hopefully go. I noticed on there, hopefully going portable eventually, with like tablets and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And no offense, I don't on my iPhone. I don't eventually want to be trying to go. Okay, wait a minute. He's got 12 guys there. I'm going to select that one. And oh god, no, just attack, hit it, get him, rush
Yeah,
the
for
quarterback.
sure. Absolutely, yeah.
And it's never a bad thing in a game to be able to say, the quarterback is toast. Just boom, mass in there. All right, one last question.
Sure.
Obviously, as we've talked about, you also work on the WoW TCG as well. So, how of the lessons that you've learned, because you've been doing it for a while, the lessons you've learned working on WoW TCG, how is that experience translated over and given you, say, either insight or just, I guess, the easy thing, how's your experience helped and worked into the design of HEX?
Sure, yeah. I mean, immensely is the answer. I mean, like, WoW TCG and HEX, for some of the differences we just discussed, I mean, they are similar. They're both very deep, very rich, robust TCGs with big sets. I mean, they both have, a similar rarity breakdown and all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, we're trying to craft constructed formats for both games. We're trying to craft good draft formats for both games. So, I mean, like, basically almost everything that I have learned and grown from as a game designer from working on WoW TCG benefits HEX in some way and translates. And vice versa is also true. I mean, the things I learned from working about HEX will also allow me to lend better work to WoW TCG. So, I mean, but yeah, I mean, so without being more specific, I mean, kind of everything.
Of course
it's like, I mean, like, when I started working on WoW TCG, it was like, okay, I want to craft the greatest draft format of all time. And did I craft the greatest draft format of all time, or did I help the team that wanted to do that? Because we all wanted to do that.
Of course.
And the answer is maybe not the best draft format of all time, but we did good work and we're getting better. And so, I mean, like, the next time we go to craft a draft format for WoW TCG or HEX, it's better. I mean, we're human beings, and our R&D team is, I personally think, bananas, very good. But we're not perfect, so we're always getting better. And whatever game we work on, frankly, board games, deck building games, they're all slightly different, but they all have similar principles. I mean, making a game is crafting an emotional, psychological experience for the user. And we're always doing that no matter what the game is. And so there's lots of principles there that translate across the board. So.
All right. Well, awesome. Ladies and gentlemen of the Mozu Report, obviously that is Ben Stoll. This is our fairly exclusive HEX interview. Got everybody else on that. Why? Because I'm just really good at Facebook and I talk to people. So, obviously, Ben, thanks for spending the time.
Absolutely. It was a total pleasure.
Awesome. Glad. And I plan on maybe, as time goes on, you guys aren't completely swamped, trying to grab a few more of you guys on eventually and talking more about HEX and all the fun stuff that you guys have got planned.
Word, man.
So, Ben, thank you so much.
Thank you, Aric.
All right. Guys, until next time, this is the Mozu Report, and we're out.